All right, how are we doing? Still hanging in there? I think presentations were quite enticing, so I'm sure you're still awake, Ken. But I'm what stands between you and the next coffee, and I know how that important is, so I'll try to keep it engaging. So just to get started, who is this gentleman talking to you? I think I'm actually wearing the same shirt. Ricardo, Head of Advisory Services at CtrlShift. As a marketeer, I'm actually not a marketeer at all, because most of my life I've been a management consultant working for likes of PwC, PA Consulting back in London, and these are some of the clients that I had, most of them in the publishing sector, but also in automotive, which obviously are very similar and related. CtrlShift is a new player, is a new and an old player in this market. It's a new as a company because it was just recently formed this year. I actually rebranded it myself, so I'm very proud of it. But it formed through the merger of 3 companies in the region, 2 Malaysians and 1 Singaporean. And we operate in the fascinating space of digital marketing, which is mind-numbing. And we are growing very, very fast. And we are a programmatic company. So we bring technology to the help of marketing in what is fundamentally a much transformed discipline. So much of what Michael and Bernard have been talking about, we help companies do with the aid of technology. But let's stop talking about me, that I'm definitely not important. Let's start talking about Marc Mathieu. Who is this nice-looking French, sporting a nice tan at the last year's Cannes Festival of Advertising? Marc Mathieu is the Senior Vice President of Marketing for Unilever. This guy has the biggest marketing and advertising pockets in the world. So that's how important this guy is. And last year he went on a rampage and he started communicating in various instances how advertising is dead, digital is dead, customers are dead. It was a massacre. But the main point is trying to make, and remember, this is the most important marketeer in the world. And the main point he was trying to make is here. So what he's trying to say is that he does not expect to receive any unwanted communication, and I'm broadening just the advertising because it's quite clear from the previous 2 speakers that advertising and content, they're blurring the lines. He does not expect any unwanted communication to reach him or his customers in the future, in the next couple of years. So this guy is not going to put any more money behind intrusive, unwanted advertising or communications. So what is he talking about? I mean, he's talking about this definition of advertising, yeah? He's talking about calling out at people, is shouting at people, is stopping you from doing whatever it is that you're doing to try to promote myself. That advertising is dead. Marc Mathieu says it. And as it was evident from some of the communications we had before from the speakers, I mean, there truly is a fight for attention today. We are being bombarded with messages, online, offline, everywhere. And what I would like to show you now in a second is a short video. It's actually taken from the Minority Report, which is a rather old movie now. We're talking about 10, 15 years old. And what they're showing is how the future of advertising was conceived 10 or 15 years ago. And actually, when the Minority Report came out, one of the tricks was that they invested a huge amount of research and thinking into trying to understand what the future would be on the basis of the technology available they had today. So it was actually quite accurate.
A road diverges in the desert. Lexus. The road you're on, John Anderton, is the one less traveled. Make sure you are on time.
You can move the old-fashioned John Anderton provides gourmet cuisine. John Anderton, you could use a Guinness right about now. Stressed out, John Anderton?
Escape from it all, Harrison. Get away, John Anderton. Forget your troubles.
Hello, Mr. Yakamoto. Welcome back to the Gap. How those assorted tank tops work out for you?
Mr. Yakamoto.
Hey, Miss Belfort, did you come back for another pair of those chamois lace-ups?
So this is how they pictured the future of advertising a few years back. But what's wrong with this future? What do you guys think is wrong with this future? The fundamental problem with that is that it's more of the same. It's advertising on steroids. It's still calling out at you. It becomes a cacophony of messages. Just they use the technology to make it even more annoying. When he enters the Gap, they acknowledge the fact that he enters the Gap, but it does nothing for him. He actually just acknowledges the fact that he entered is the same technology as 7-Eleven has been using for the past 10 years. When you enter, you hear ding dong. That's exactly the same technology. That's how they thought technology would be in the future. And the fundamental problem is that we need to stop interrupting what people are interested in. We need to be what people are interested in. Because nobody reads ads, they read what they're interested in, and sometimes it's an ad. So today, technology has fundamentally changed the game and given control to the audience, and has enabled communications to be contextually relevant, useful, even helpful. That's what we need to embrace wholeheartedly. And just to give an example of what the reality is today, 15 years after, in terms of how we use technology and content to promote our services in ways that are useful, exciting, even fun. And that's an example from IKEA that we've taken. Have you guys seen this ad before? No? So what IKEA has done, this is advertising as a service. So what they've done, they've developed this app, and what they were trying to do is to, of course, the catalog is still a huge driver of revenues for IKEA. But just turning the catalog into an app doesn't quite do it, because you need to download the app, or you need to remember that the app exists, and so on. So they turn the app into something that does more and engages with the audience, and it really gives them the control. So you basically, you take the catalog of IKEA, you can position it somewhere in your room, and then the app uses augmented reality to project what the catalog items will look like in your living room or in your house. So you can see how they really use technology to engage with the use. They gamified, we use that term quite a lot, but they really developed, they made the content of their catalog very relevant for the audiences that might use it. Now, this is all well, and of course we can see that this is probably a better future than the one of Minority Report. Brands are not just shouting at me, but they are providing me with, as they communicate with me, with relevant content, with something that delights, something that connects with me. However, to make this future happen is extremely complicated. And most marketeers, most marketing departments today do realize the complexity that the new ecosystem entails. And 79%, this was IBM again, an IBM research saying that 79% of marketeers, of CMOs, realize that complexity is gonna escalate in the future. However, less than half feel prepared for it. And so CMOs and marketeers in general really feel anxiety around how they can come up with solutions like the IKEA. Because trust me, when IKEA does something like that, they make a lot of bucks. And everybody else doesn't. Everybody else is stuck in the world of an unnoticed world. So technology can be a great enabler, but can be scary. And the industry I work with is actually one of the worst ones in terms of communicating what they do, because it's full of geeks like me. And we use loads of acronyms in our industry. We use DMP, we use SSP, we use DSP, we use RTB, and it's all a WTF of words, really. So you can understand how intimidating it is for marketeers to start engaging with suppliers like CtrlShift if they don't actually understand what technology can do. So just to close really the presentation, I'd like to leave you with some questions that I think if you've drunk the Kool-Aid of this morning of the three presenters, and I think the message was loud and clear, content has to work harder. You cannot just shout at people, advertising is dead. You've got to make content more relevant, and technology is obviously a strong enabler. But ask yourself these questions today. Do you or anybody that in your team or in your family understand what marketing technology can do for you today? Do you have 100% visibility over your marketing budget? It's no longer the 50-50, 50 works, 50 doesn't work. Technology today can tell you exactly 100% of what works and what does not work. Do you have that sort of visibility? How much of your budget is today allocated to digital, and how much of it is simply a rehashing of last year's budget, maybe plus or minus 10%, whatever this I can get away with the CFO. Can you trust your partner agencies to take the next step, or are they also stuck in the future? And do you make decisions with guts, or do you use data? Because today you can use data, and trust me, it's better than guts. And finally, are you pushing the envelope of what is possible, or are you stuck in the past? And with that, thank you.